Adding to the bad news for Republicans was this week's surprising results in a special election in Iowa, where a Democrat won a deep red district by double digits, breaking a Republican supermajority. So given that context, it's not entirely shocking to learn that Iowa's Republican Senator Joni Ernst is retiring after 2 terms.
It's Ken Harbaugh with the Midas Touch Network. We may be on the brink of what political scientists refer to as a realignment. I prefer to call it an awakening, because it is going to take millions of Republicans and former Republicans realizing what their party has become to finally reject it. We see signs of that across the country. Just look at the town halls that Republicans are attempting to hold. Here's Barry Moore in Alabama running out the back door after his constituents refused to tolerate his BS any longer.
Sex for a citizen and a non-citizen are different.
False. Shame. One of the clearest indicators of a potential so-called realignment might be happening in Iowa. That special election where a supposedly safe Republican seat was flipped is hugely significant. And now there is a Democrat running for governor. Rob Sand is the only Democrat elected to statewide office. He's currently Iowa's auditor. He's also a friend. And his entry into the race has already shifted the landscape there. And unlike Republicans across the country, he is doing town halls everywhere he goes.
Yeah, there had been a lot of talk about Rob Sand, a lot of people expecting him to launch a campaign. Now it's official.
I'm happy to stand alone if it's the right thing to do. I'm not going to go along with doing the wrong thing just because everybody else is doing it.
There are some tables that need flipping in Des Moines right now, and I would really appreciate your help.
Welcome to the Ken Harbaugh Show. Today I've got Rob Sand, Iowa's state auditor, and the only Democrat elected statewide who's now running for governor, bringing his record of accountability and independent leadership to the race for Iowa's governor. Rob, it's Iowa. What are you thinking, man?
You would know what you're speaking about from Ohio, wouldn't you?
Yeah. All right. You know something we don't, and I've looked at the fact sheet. Iowa is not as blood red as we're being told it is.
No, it's not.
Your entry into the race actually changed the calculation. We don't care about the horse race here, but tell us what it's like on the ground. You did, 10 town halls last Monday and Tuesday?
Yeah, I did.
There's a vibe.
Yeah. 4 on Monday, 6 on Tuesday. And I know that the names of these towns and the numbers wouldn't mean much to most people, so I'll skip that. But we are going to small towns and we are getting crowds that the vast majority of campaigns, Democratic or Republican, would be happy to get in October of the election year. And we're 14 months out. I've never seen rooms this full. And I have to tell you too, it's not just that we're getting people turning out, but our message, which the heart of which is not redder or bluer, but better and truer, is echoing back to us. I was walking around in a mall in Cedar Rapids, maybe a month, 6 weeks ago with a friend of mine. And a guy comes up to me, he said, "Hey, I was just watching YouTube videos about you this morning. I'm going to register to vote for the first time in my life to vote for you for governor." And he's 28 years old, so he's missed a few. And I said, "Why? What did you see or hear that made you decide to do that?" And he says, "The idea that we should be bigger than just Democrats versus Republicans." And then there was a guy that wrote an op-ed about the race, really about the state of politics. If anybody wants to read it, it's called Voters Like Me. If you Google that plus my name, Rob Sand, it'll probably pop up. But he writes this op-ed that just nails the state of politics in America today and the stupidity of pretending there's only 2 ways to think. And then at the end of it, he goes, "But Sand's campaign for governor seems to be very serious about actually doing something about this, not just talking about it. And I hope everyone in Iowa is paying attention." And Ken, that guy that wrote that literally was in Republican Governor Kim Reynolds' cabinet until very recently. And he was recommended for that job by U.S. Senator Joni Ernst. So if we are getting people 14 months out from an election who are both non-voters, but also people in positions of trust and power who are part of the Republican apparatus or have been, if we are getting that much diversity and the number of people who are echoing our message back to us this far out, something's happening here. We feel great.
Good. I'm glad you feel great, because the status of the country isn't great. And I know running in Iowa, you have to appeal to those Republican voters because we need you to win, right? But the town halls for the Republicans in Iowa aren't going the same way. This is a partisan thing. I mean, there is deep antipathy towards the Republican platform. Look, Democrats aren't super popular either. That's for different reasons. Right. But can you level with us about the anger out there towards one side? And I'll just give you as example A, like the attempt of any Republican basically around the country now to hold the town hall. They're not experiencing what you're experiencing.
No, but I mean, again, this goes back to the center of my politics, which is I got asked this, do you want to be the template for Democrats? I want to be the template for if anyone decides they think they should do what I'm doing, Republicans or Democrats. The idea here is that we should be putting the public ahead of partisanship. And I think the reason that Republicans in Iowa are not getting that same reception when they do town halls is because they are doing the opposite. They are prioritizing what insiders want. They are prioritizing what special interest groups want. They're prioritizing what their party leader wants, and they're not serving the public, and the public is noticing. And so that's why you have people going to those town halls who are very angry. My approach, Ken, anybody can go to robsand.com/events right now, and they could see our events all the way out through October. We don't just pop in and pop out before people even realize we were there. We announced all 100 town halls multiple months in advance, like a band going on tour, to really let people know, like, hey, we're coming.
Hey, it's Ken Harbaugh. Quick break to say thank you to everyone who's been following and supporting this show and this channel. None of it happens without you. And if you haven't yet subscribed to my Substack page, I'd really appreciate the follow. It's a great way to make sure you never miss an episode. It's free to sign up. And if you're able to pitch in a few bucks, every dollar goes back into the show. Just search for The Ken Harbaugh Show on Substack or click the link below. Thanks.
Because the idea is, I'm really comfortable with the decisions that I have made as a state auditor for 2 terms, as the chief public corruption prosecutor in the state prior to that. I'm an open book. I want people to get to know me, right? And I think people appreciate that approach. When I say governor for all, there it is. What I mean by that in part is I'm going to be someone who will listen to you, who will take your concerns seriously. Then that doesn't mean that I'm going to make everybody happy. We're all still going to have disagreements, but there's a world of difference between someone who actually takes you seriously and listens, and at the end of the day ends up doing or deciding something that isn't exactly what you wanted, versus someone who doesn't give you the time of day, doesn't care, and says, yeah, we're all going to die.
Who said that?
Yeah. Did you hear that one?
Yeah, we may have to run that clip.
They are not eligible, so they will be coming off. So people are not, we all are going to die. So for heaven's sakes, folks, okay.
Well, how do you work with that side when that's the attitude? When the apology comes from a cemetery and it is not an apology, it's just furthering the insult. How do you accommodate working with a party for which cruelty has become the point? I mean, it's part of their brand now. It's not a bug, it's a feature.
It's finding the ones that don't feel that way, right? And it's working with them. So in my first term as state auditor here, we uncovered a record amount of misspent money. And the response to that, the response to that from Iowans was, despite being a Democrat, I got reelected, right, to keep doing the job. But the response to us me getting reelected was the folks who run the show in Des Moines, the legislature and the governor, passed a law literally making it legal for state government to hide waste and abuse from the auditor's office. And so I look at this and, I got 6 of the Republicans in the Iowa House to vote against that bill. There are people still in leadership positions in elected office, some of them who want to be focused on doing the right thing. Certainly there's some in Des Moines right here, right? And I think it's about finding those people and working with them and trying to make sure that we can do that together. And the other thing is, Ken, and this is pretty simple, they don't want to work with me. That would be unfortunate, because I think there's a lot of good things that we could do for the state of Iowa, but I can at least veto the crap out of all the stupid stuff that they want to do. Our economy right now is 49th ranked in America. Our personal income growth is 48th. Our cancer growth rate in Iowa is number 1. And this is because they've been spending time in Des Moines figuring out, hey, how can we make it so that the state auditor has a harder time doing his job, instead of actually solving problems for Iowans. I mean, I talk to people regularly who say, I just had a double-digit increase in my health insurance premiums. Why aren't they doing something about that? Instead, they're picking on people who are different and trying to figure out how to hide misspent tax dollars. Just totally misplaced priorities.
I want to talk about that special role that blue state governors have in America today as a bulwark. And I've asked other gubernatorial candidates this as well. In the Trump era, one of the last lines of defense, given his total rejection of norms and institutions and the usual guardrails, one of the last lines of defense may become the blue state governors who, for example, say, I'm going to make it really hard for you to deploy my National Guard to square off against American citizens. And there are a number of other tools that our system, federalism, allows state governors to employ. Does that ever come up? Do you ever have people on the campaign trail saying, look, politics is nationalized and we've got 6 state guards now being told that the enemy is the American people and Trump is deploying them. As a blue state governor, it might come to that for you.
I've had a couple of people talk around the edges of that. It hasn't really been a focus. And I'm taking a dozen questions and 100 town halls this year, and we're not quite halfway through. So I think people here, even though politics is often nationalized, people here still understand I'm running for a state position, and their focus has been on really a lot of the changes that the insiders in Des Moines have made in Iowa that are not popular with most Iowans. A 6-week abortion ban that doesn't square with what most Iowans want, a school vouchers program that doesn't square with what most Iowans want. And I can tell you this on the question. I mean, I spent 7 years in courtrooms across the state of Iowa, in most of Iowa's counties. And one of the most central things we're doing when we're dealing with criminal cases is dealing with the Constitution. I do have a reverence for that. And to me, the questions are always, it's not who is the president, but is what does the Constitution say? What are the facts of this situation? And those are the things that should be put first. I'd work with people if there's a situation where I need to be working with them and it's within the bounds of the Constitution and the law. But the difference between me and my opponents is I'm not going to either oppose or support reflexively any president of any party just because of their party affiliation.
I want to end with the horse race question, just to give you the chance to pitch, because your team put a lot of work into the sheet on the race itself and where you're positioned. You're in a good spot for Iowa. Can you give us the 30-second version?
Yeah, it's pretty simple. Look, we've got an open seat here. First time we've had an open seat in this race for 20 years. With an open seat and a Republican president's second midterm, I think a lot of people are looking for change. Our governor right now, Kim Reynolds, has ranked the least popular in America, I think for 6 quarters running, according to Morning Consult. And Ken, in part because of my anti-partisan approach, my approach favoring public service over politics, my work has gotten the best marks from the Iowa public by 30 points when you consider both approval and disapproval rating. So we're in a really good spot here. I think it also makes a difference to a lot of Iowans that I was born and raised in a small town, that I grew up fishing and hunting and going to church every Sunday. And those are all 3 things that I still am active doing. So I think when most people in small town and rural Iowa think of Democrats, they don't picture a person like me. And I think you're right. At the end of the day, we've got a real opportunity here to win this race. That's reflected by the folks that do race ratings that have said battleground or said the next thing closest to a toss-up already, and we're a long ways out. So we're feeling great.
Where can people learn more about your race and help you out?
robsand.com, easy enough. Or follow me on whatever social media channel is your favorite.
Cool. Thanks for joining us, Rob.
You bet. Thanks for having me.
Love this video? Support independent media and unlock exclusive content, ad-free videos, and custom emojis by becoming a paid member of our YouTube channel today. You can also gift memberships to others. Let's keep growing together.